everybody, it's Richard Milligan here with 4C Recruiting, and if you're getting to this video, you most likely heard about a partnership that we have with Mobility RE, and just being shared that it's a data portal that you'll have access to some additional information regarding loan officers inside the mortgage industry and real estate agents inside the real estate community. And so I want to take you through just an overview of what that tool looks like. If you want some additional information on this tool and what our partnership with Mobility RE looks like and how you can actually get an individual license, which is something that they're only offering through us here at 4C Recruiting, then there'll be a form below here that you can actually fill out and hit submit. And when you submit that, what it will do is it will push information to the email inbox that you have, that you actually enter into the form. And so we'll be happy to provide you with some additional details on that, so that you can look into getting that set up. One of the things that I know, one of the reasons why I cut the podcast quality versus quantity, is that our time today is our most precious commodity. And so being able to qualify someone as someone that you want to invest your time into is actually important. And it's important to identify at the very beginning so that you're not chasing this individual to the ends of the world to find out that it's someone that you don't want. Now, can people change? Can production numbers change? Yes, they can. And that's why having access to good, clean data that's actually a user-friendly format makes a lot of sense. I need a place that I can go like that, access information, and see what production looks like for the individual. So I can create a larger story to know whether I actually want to lean into this individual or not. So I'm going to go through this tool on a screen share at a very high level, okay? I'll choose my own market to sort some data so that you can actually see in my own market, which is in Edmond, Oklahoma, how this tool works and what some of the benefits are, and how even you could create some better conversations using this information, which I think is very relative today. Part of this is qualifying people, but an extension of this becomes, when you have access to this kind of data, is that you now move into a better conversation. And we'll kind of walk through that as I share it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to a screen share with you. And so I'm going to pop into the top right corner. And then what you're going to see, you can see once I've done that, I'm in my studio here recording this. There's a door on this side of me. But I'm going to jump into Mobility RE right here. We're going to sign in and let you see what this tool looks like. Now at the very top of this tool, you see the word real estate, you see the word mortgage, and those are going to be the two primary functions that we're going to use to sort information by. So I'm going to click on the mortgage tab, and there's basically different ways for me to search. I can search by company name, I can search by map, which is actually a really cool function. I can rank according to my city and state, or I can do a specific loan officer search. So let's just start by map, and I'm going to enter, my market, which is Edmond, Oklahoma here. And I'm zooming out right now with my mouse, okay? So I've got a mouse over here, I'm zooming out on this map. So right here, I can see these green dots are the locations of offices, okay? So because I can drill in, I can actually start drilling down on some of this, I can drill out on some of this, but let's just drill in on some of this, and we'll look to see, like there's a group of offices over here, it looks like, so we can just jump into let's jump into, there's Fairway. You can see the names popping up, Loan Depot. Here's a Associated Mortgage Company. You can see the names popping up here, PRMG, but we'll just jump into a random one here. I'm not going to pick on anybody. But by jumping into this, what I have is I have access to every person's information underneath that branch. Now, what is this? This is an algorithm that's pulling information into one portal, and it's making it consumer friendly. It's making it friendly to the non-IT guy, Richard Milligan, right? So I immediately can see the information here around these. And so I can see their names. I can see who's the manager of this office. I can see their 12-month volume. I can see the number of transactions that they've done in those previous 12 months. Now, some of this data is lagging. So I got to take some of that into consideration, meaning that when someone actually gets a mortgage, before that mortgage is filed, at times there can be a lag in that data actually hitting a portal where the algorithm can pull that information in. So I'm going to take that into consideration. Is this 100% of the transactions that have been produced? It's not, but it gives me good context. Okay, who's a producer, who's not a producer. So let's just randomly choose someone here. We'll choose Amy. I don't know Amy. Okay, but what I can see now that as I choose this information is I can see licensing information over here. I could actually click this little consumer access link and it would take me to that. Name of company, address, loan volume in the past 6 months, loan volume in the past 12 months, showing lots of great context. How much of the business is purchase business? How much is refinance? How much is construction? That can tell you whether that's a fit for your business model or not. How much is conventional? How much is FHA? How much is VA? That will tell you whether it's a good fit or not. And then it will also, this is a great indicator for health of a loan officer, right? Loan officers have extreme spikes, extreme valleys all the time. A lot of times, have lower production than the loan officers that are more consistent. You can see Amy's pretty consistent. I didn't know any of this information prior to clicking on Amy. This is all being done spontaneously. So she's pretty consistent in her production, but what I would tell you is that a lot of times this data here at the end is going to lag. So this, when I look at her August numbers, I would expect those to be down. I would expect the July numbers to maybe be down and the June numbers to be down because some of that information is going to be lagging information. Now, what I can also see, which is interesting, is I can see who her partners are, how many deals she's gotten from someone at Century 21. And that's relative because I can see where she's getting multiple deals from one agent. That tells me that there's a deeper relationship there. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Now there's lots of other information here. I can see the transaction data. I can see the buyer side agents data, the listing side agents data. Okay, and I can export this information if I want to export that information. So this is one way to use this particular tool. So how I use this is, look, if I'm a mortgage company and I'm looking to actually, put a branch up in Edmond, Oklahoma, I can kind of see there's an area right here where there's a decent number of branches. I'll start identifying even locations based off of that information because it's helpful for me to know who can I attract that's already officing in this essential area. So I now know, like Highway 77, if I don't know the market at all, that Highway 77 and maybe 1 to 1.5 miles on either side of that around this, west, east 33rd Street is a great location for me, right? I don't have to know anything about this market, and I already know based off of this map that would be a great location for me, okay? So that information is extremely helpful. And I can come way out on this map, or I can drill I can drill way in to this map. Let's go back to our search. Go back here to, I can actually search LO rank. Okay, go state, I can go Oklahoma. I can go, if I don't want to go county specific, I don't have to, but if I want to go county specific, I can. So as example, I'm in Oklahoma County, and so I could go to Oklahoma County. I can now select a city. So I'm in Edmond. I could select Edmond as the city, and then I could create a range for the amount of volume that I actually want to look for. And I could say, hey, minimum volume is 8 million. My sweet spot might be I want to actually find that not mega producer, but someone that's on the edge that I can bring a lot of value to. And then I can actually choose the transaction types there. Now, I'm not going to mess with this, but you may say new construction's not our sweet spot. I can remove that by clicking on the X. Now I would say I only want purchase business. I can click on the X, remove all refinance. Okay? If I want to do specific loan types, as an example, if you're in the mortgage industry seeing this, typically there's more value in FHA and VA loans. And so if I want to actually take out conventional loan type and sort this data according to that, I can. I'm not going to do this, get to that extreme, but I'm going to come here, I'm going to hit search. And it's actually going to gather all that data. Now it's going to list that data based off of the parameters that I gave it. So right here, I begin to see this information. Okay. So this helps create a very qualified list for the people that I know that I want to recruit, okay? So that's another way that I can use this information. So these are the ways that you can search. I can go LO specific, I can enter names, I can enter states, or I can enter their licensing number here. So real estate, same thing, same functionalities across the entire piece here. So as an example, if I want to go to and search by map, in a specific area for listing agents or buyer side agents, right? I can come in here and I can actually do that. So we'll go Edmond, Oklahoma. We'll search right here. And actually now you can see the numbers, right? I see this 153, this jumps out at me. I'm going to click on the 150, that's Metro Brokers of Oklahoma. I can click on the rosters for this, and I can start diving off into the agents here that are delivering the most amount of business. So right here, I see Kathleen Forrest, buyer's side sold count with the amount of volume. That gives me a really good target for the people that I want to go after, okay? So same information is available to the agents. If you're in the real estate community looking to actually hire listing agents or buyer side agents, this data is invaluable. If you're actually in the mortgage community looking to partner with real estate agents and you want to know who the main players are in your industry, this information, this data is invaluable. Okay, same thing on the recruiting side. So, so this is an easy way, I mean, just a real quick search of the tools, and we'll come back in this. I want to actually discuss now, how should you use this information, okay? So we're going to come back in here to Edmond, Oklahoma, create a search result. I'm going to go hit just a price mortgage group. So there's a list of people inside this price mortgage group office. Let's talk about how we use this information, because with this information, I can generate a much better conversation. So let's just talk about this. Most people, when they're recruiting, are using a script along the lines of, are you open to a new opportunity? Are you open to a better opportunity? Same conversation, right? Really, in the context, are you open to a new opportunity or a better opportunity? Even if you're saying, look, we're looking for leaders in your market, right? It's just a little better opportunity. And I call that the opportunity improvement offer. So this information allows you via LinkedIn, via phone call, via text message to have a much better conversation with people, and it's intriguing. Now, one of the things that I teach around is affirmation, affirmation, affirmation. Affirmation is really important to getting someone into a conversation. We overly affirm. That's one of the reasons why I teach do lots of research before you actually call someone. Why? Because I can affirm you. I can say, look, I love your social brand. I noticed your website was richardloveslending.com. I thought that was extremely creative and cool. I loved it. I can affirm, affirm, affirm. I saw your family on your Facebook. It looks like you really work hard to be a good dad or a good husband, or right. I can affirm, affirm, affirm. That's an important element to getting people to lean towards you. It's part of being a life-giving leader. People will lean towards someone that gives life versus someone that actually extrapolates life, okay? So we want to be life-giving in this situation, and how do we do that? We affirm people. This information here allows me to actually have some really good conversations. So, for example, you know, I know that this person's doing about 25% of their business as FHA. That might be something that I might bring up in a conversation. I could actually go look at the transactions and bring some of these things up. I know who they're doing title work with, who their partnership is on the title side. As I begin to look at this, I can see where there's repetition around who they're using again and again. And a lot of times there is repetition around that. I can look for repetition around who they're using on the buyer side for agents. So for example, Paula Vaughn's name is here. I could say, I noticed you recently did a transaction with Paula Vaughn over at ERA Real Estate back in October. I noticed you did a transaction with Ashley Nelton over at ERA Real Estate, right? So I know that you're in this office over here over at ERA. Here's some listing site agents. Again, Paula Vaughn is a name that comes up again, where Paula Vaughn was the listing agent on a buyer side deal. So those facts allow me to actually get to a better conversation. Here's one thing that's also helpful. This little Google button. When I click that, it comes out and it automatically searches that information on Google. And so look at all the information that I have here. I've got Zillow lender reviews. I've got specific websites that has his bio on it. I mean, check that out right there. Grew up in Oklahoma City, resides in Deer Creek with his beautiful wife. They have two, I'm going to assume that's 2 kids. I'm not going to jump off into clicking on that. But again, that's a better conversation that I can have using this information. Okay, one of the things I can actually do is if I'm sorting this information based off of ranking, I can say, as I was looking at some information that we have access to, You're one of the top 20 loan officers in the Edmond community. And that's affirming. That's a better conversation. They'll say, where'd you get that information? What are you looking at? I'd love to share it with you. And what would I do? Is I would actually take a snippet of this. It's really easy. I use a tool called Snagit. I can take a snippet of this and just do something like this if I wanted to, right? And with Snagit, I'll drop this onto the other screen so you can kind of see what that looks like. But with Snagit, one of the things that I can do is I can draw arrows to, the amount of volume. I can, draw arrows to the number of transactions. I can actually, do call out things down here. If I want to do if I want to do some call outs, let me go call out. I won't waste time, but I could actually do thought bubbles on this if I wanted to do thought bubbles on this. I'm messing this up again, so let me delete that. But I would play around with this. I'd be willing to share a version of this with somebody, right? This is why I'm reaching out to you. This is some of the information that we're looking at. Again, it's affirming for people to see that. So I would share that information. So if you said to me, okay, that you knew, let's just go back to this because we had some good data here a second ago, and I want to show this to you. I'm going to go into real estate. I'm going to go into office search. I'm going to go into Edmond because we had some really good information over here that I think will bring value to this conversation. So I'm going to go back here to Edmond, Oklahoma. Hit enter. Let's come out on this. We were looking at an office that had 153 transactions right here. And on the roster, we were looking at the top agent in that office, which was Kathleen Forrest. I can see who her #1 loan officer relationships are, okay? So, I can look into this and I can see who she's doing business with, okay? And so because of that, this gives me more data to actually reach out to Amber and have a better conversation with Amber. Look, I noticed that you're doing a lot of business with Kathleen Forrest. Like, how do you know that, right? I have access to some information. That's a better conversation. I've piqued your interest, right? One of the things that I talk about, and I actually have a podcast around this, is what we call pattern breakers. How do you break through people's busyness, right? To get to a place where I can have a conversation with you. If I said to you, hey, Amber, I noticed that you're doing a lot of business with Kathleen Forrest over Metro Brokers. You got my attention. Why? Because she may be my #1 agent. You have my attention now. Yes, what? What about Kathleen? Right? Now we can engage in a conversation, a better conversation. So this is how you use the data to create better conversations. And this is why I think when you have that quality over quantity, this is why I think everyone should have a tool like this. Is this the only tool available? It's not. There's some other tools out there that are available. It's the one that we coach to. It's the one that we teach around. So I wanted to show it to you. And if nothing else, open your eyes to the fact that you have access to this information, because this is where technology has now gone. And I highly recommend that you actually have something like this that you use. If you got questions about this, below this video will actually be a box you can fill out some information. When you fill that box out, it'll trigger an email to be sent to you with some information and additional next steps that you could take to get signed up for a service like this if you decide that you want to do it. We won't ever spam you, we won't ever sell you information, and we will not enter you into a funnel that will then try to convince you to use the tool. We are here with the heart of a teacher trying to help people inside these industries that we have partnered with. So even if you don't do that, there's value in this, and I'm hopeful that you had some key takeaways that you can go apply to your business to become a better recruiting leader. Thanks for checking out the video. If you want more information, you know how, and we'll see you again in a video or a podcast or someplace soon. Thanks so much.